Happy New Comic Book Day, geeks, and welcome to issue 75 of the Script Heroes podcast. I'm Katie.
And I'm Joseph, and today we're going to be talking about a bunch of new comics, including Amazing Spider-Man issue 3, Laura Kinney Wolverine issue 6, Batgirl issue 7, Two-Face issue 6, Jumpscare issue 3, The Moon is Following Us issue 9, the first issue of new series Snow Monkey, and the first issue of new series Blood and Thunder.
That's right. Hit subscribe to add our show to your pull list, and let's jump in to Batgirl. Batgirl number 7. This is coming to us from creative team writer Tate Bromble of Christopher Chaos, House of Slaughter, and Green Lantern Dark. The artist is Isaac Goodhart of Christopher Chaos, Postal, and Eve of Extinction. The colorist is Mike Spicer, and the letter is Tom Napolitano. Jay, we are into arc 2 of Batgirl, which is less Batgirl, more Shiva origin story.
Yeah, it's called, the Book of Shiva for a reason, I believe. Yeah. Oh, I hit my mic. That's okay. No, this is very much, I think, up my alley with a full flashbacky kind of, ancient warrior type
ninjas
story.
In the Himalayas style.
Yeah. So that's good stuff. I like it's May, right? Her sister's name is May, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I like May and her dynamic a lot in this flashback sequence. It becomes this sister story, and I like that one other only family member relationship a lot. I often talk about father-son stories, but it doesn't have to be a father and son. That's just, I think, is one of the more typical orientations for it. But the two sisters works really well too. It's okay, here's this good dynamic. You kind of see the startings of Shiva from where she is versus where her sister is. So I like that a lot. And I think that really carries us through this, in addition to just phenomenal artwork. I think that this is really leaning into what Goodhart is good at, which is, I think, these kind of more warrior sequences. I like the heavy, I guess the heavy people count. I was thinking of a better way to say that. There isn't one. I like the packed pages that he does in some of these warrior sequences I'm looking for. Yeah, look at that. That's so a good way to shove a bunch of people in a panel.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I was a big fan of this issue. It is we're taking a beat, but I think it works because we finished the first arc. Obviously, we can finally talk about that spoiler now. Shiva dies at the end of issue 6. Utterly wild thing to do, and I respect the hell out of them for doing it. But to go okay, we had that big payoff, that big moment. Let's take a beat for, I think it's 2 issues, right? Is it more?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I don't know why I believe that to be the case, but I do believe it.
Maybe it's just because all the absolute 2-issue arcs we just read the other day, and we're to take a beat for a couple issues and tell us the origin of Shiva and kind of have that, probably, I'm assuming, ripple into the modern day story that follows. If it doesn't, then I might question this a little bit more, but I assume that's going to be what happens. I think is a really good way to play with your ongoing format when you have an ongoing format. So I'm a big fan of this issue. Thumbs up for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's been a really nice growing trend. Maybe it's just also the stuff we've been picking up, but I feel like DC at least, maybe less so Marvel, have been very willing to extend these things and start taking a chance on ongoings again. It felt like for a while there was not even a chance that something was going to become an ongoing. If it wasn't an already established series. It was
this feels especially good because this isn't Green Arrow getting turned into an ongoing always felt like more of a marketing stunt to me. Yeah. It was 6 and now we're 12 and now we're not. It felt kind of markety to me. This feels much more legitimate of we're giving it's still a Bat character, so maybe,
right.
We're not going way down, but this is Batgirl. It's not even the most popular Batgirl, getting an ongoing series. That feels really good to me as a reader, and I'm very happy with that.
And it really helps with, I don't know, the long form storytelling of an ongoing where you're able to take a full issue or a full 2 issues to dive into this character's dead mother and take the time within this Batgirl book to do a Shiva book. Which I think is really, really cool, and I think that it adds a lot to the identity of the Batgirl book, because obviously the first volume was really rooted in her relationship with Shiva. The whole thing was them.
Yeah, I think Tate Bromble's a big Shiva fan is my best guess.
Yeah, I would also guess that. But I think that it shows a lot of the ongoing story's power,
Yeah,
that this is going to continue to be about the impact of Shiva on Cass. Like, we're not just moving on to a new villain in like a second arc. It's like, no,
yeah,
we're paying our respects. This is a I think a big step in, we're taking what came before us and we're building on that. Like, it's the same team, but they went from having a mini series to an ongoing, and
yeah.
so now they're not just like, let's do another mini series. It feels like it is like
Yeah. I wonder
a
if
good
it is also partially like to buy time in a way of like, oh,
maybe so, yeah.
we had 6 issues planned or whatever, and then like, oh, where's the book gonna go from here? Well, maybe let's take a beat and we'll do 2 issues.
And Tate
Again,
Bromwell's like,
I
I
don't know if it's
already have
exactly
my
2 issues.
Shiva fan
This
comic
could be long.
ready.
Yeah, like let's do however many issues it is to tell Shiva's origin while we figure out what the direction long term for the
Yeah,
series is going to be. And I think that's a smart way to handle it. When that,
agreed.
because I think we talked about with Green Arrow, as much as we love the first arc, the second arc being that extension did feel a little bit like, oh, you're just kind of like putting things here, and it doesn't really feel like
Yeah.
you had this planned out in that kind of way.
Yeah, and it had
So,
the misfortune of also being tied into
an event, yeah.
absolute power.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
also not great. But yeah, I think there's something to be said about like take some space, figure it out, still deliver good content that we're going to be excited to read. But yeah, I agree with you.
I think they did a great job with it, and it's made me really excited about Batgirl as an ongoing.
Yeah, also a rad cover, like the reflection.
Rad cover with the reflection of Shiva there, so good. I will say, I was a little worried when Cass got on a train. I was like, no, we're not doing this again, are we? And then she had like the trauma flashback.
Yeah, I like
and
the trauma flashback.
Okay, that worked.
Yeah. I do like though that they knew that you were going to be thinking the second she got on a train.
Oh yeah.
And they lead.
God damn it! No, another 3 issues of this. Yeah. But as one ongoing goes on, one miniseries ends.
Yeah, so another Bat adjacent book.
That's right. Time to get Two-Face.
Two-Face, issue 6. The writer of the series is Christian Ward of Bloodstained Teeth, Odyssey, and Batman City of Madness. The artist is Fabo Veras of Harley Quinn, Black, White, and Redder, and DC's Ghouls Just Wanna Have Fun. The colorist is Ivan Placencia, and the letter is Hassan Atzman. Allow. Katie.
Yes.
We had some large praise for this Two-Face series. And it's over. This is it.
It's over. This was the end.
Final chapter. We were left off in the last one with a little Batman encounter incoming. Talk to me.
I feel like it should have ended with the last issue. This book has been so good, and I think this was a technically good issue. Like, I enjoyed reading it.
Yes.
The problem I had was that it felt like it was almost being used to get us back to status quo.
Yeah, put the toys back in the box for the next.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It focused a lot on something that I think we've both been pretty critical of, which is Harvey's relationship to Lake Cantwell, his legal aid, who we feel did not get very much relationship development with Harvey, and then it becomes like really important in this issue, because he's got his Two-Face has his supposed daughter figure, and Harvey now has his supposed daughter figure.
Yeah, that was a bit of a leap.
Yeah, right. And it just felt like the Lake storyline was not set up to pay off. Like, the Batman thing didn't pay off in any way either. Like, it was a pretty milquetoast conversation that didn't feel like it actually set anything in motion. And then I feel like the way that they had everything wrap up could have been like a stinger at the end of the last issue. Yeah. Like, I don't know that it needed this 6th issue, because I feel like we wrapped on a lot of cool stuff, and I didn't need it tied up in a nice bow. Especially with a character like Two-Face, who
I think
is really
they
chaotic.
needed it tied up in a nice bow because of how
did they
things
though?
go. They felt that they did. No,
Yeah,
it
so
was.
I still really liked it. I think that
Yeah.
the art was still gorgeous. We get
Oh yeah.
basically zero of the best part of the art, which is all of the inside Harvey's head stuff.
We
But
get
we're
a
not
bit,
really
especially
in his
yeah.
head. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. We get a little bit of it.
Yeah.
So it's still gorgeous. I still liked the everything they had going on. It was
Yeah.
just those few little bits.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's a very technically good issue. I think it's still a good read, and it's an enjoyable read. But it is very much let's put the toys back in the box and get Two-Face back to where he needs to be. I am like, not to spoil the end, but I'm interested if the ending was meant to be a toy back in the box, or if it was meant to be like an extra level or something to kind of like for something
I
that is
mean,
potentially planned, because it feels like they're trying to go for something there, maybe to like set
I
up
definitely
something.
get that.
Yeah, but the one thing I will give the book slightly, and it very much feels like a writer who's been told to put toys back in the box doing this, is the issue is so aware of itself. Like, it is constant, like, things never change in Gotham.
Yep.
Two-Face, you're trying to fight against the fact that things never, change in Gotham. You bet, or, I guess a good Harvey is
Yeah.
the good Harvey. You're trying to fight against the fact that things never change in Gotham. You're gonna learn. And like, there was a part of me, especially as a writer, that got a chuckle out of that, of like, he's very much like, and not in like a Deadpool meta way, but like in a
Yeah.
like, we all know what's going on, but this is still in universe,
Yes. Yeah.
I appreciated that a lot, of like, if he was told that he had to put the toy back in the box, I appreciate
Right.
him like doing it in this way, because I think that there's something a little bit better there, and that makes it a little more satisfying to read, where it's like he's aware as much
For
as
sure.
we're
Yeah.
aware, and that's nice. But yeah, it's a little disappointing that this book kind of had a really really unique angle, and it kind of ends with the character basically back where they were.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little disappointing. It's still a very well made issue though, and I thought it was still a very
Absolutely.
enjoyable read.
Yeah. It's hard to not enjoy an issue of Two-Face with this creative team.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, but those of you who read the whole series, how do you feel about the kind of return to status quo? Is that something
Yeah,
that you like to see at the end of a miniseries so that things can, proceed as normal? Because, I can very much see a sense of like, oh, you're overstepping if you change Two-Face fundamentally in
yeah,
some sort of way. Um,
yeah.
but what do you think that line is between putting the toy back in the box and, I don't know, swapping the toy's head out for something else?
Kit bashing, I believe, is the term.
There you
Uh,
go. Kit bashing and then putting it back in.
yeah. I'm interested to see too if this is indeed a setup for something. If it's in another book, or if it means this creative team is maybe.
I would doubt that it's another Two-Face book because I feel
I
like
don't know about specifically, but maybe like a Batman.
oh,
Two-Face.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Because I feel like DC loves to do a little like the end question mark. If
that's
they're
fair.
gonna,
They didn't do that.
they did
That's
a
a fair point.
full exclamation mark.
Yeah. Maybe it's one of
They're
those
like,
things where it was maybe leading to something, but then depending on like sales of the book, they were like, no, this is just this.
maybe
I don't
sure.
know. This book may be sold amazingly. I have no idea what
Yeah.
this book actually sold. This is full speculation. Um, Maybe it was just the creative team being like, let's. I can't remember the writer's name. I feel so bad right now. Christian Ward. Being like, I'm gonna put this kind of make this feel big at the end, so that people will want us back to do something
Hell
with
yeah.
this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm making shit up. I love doing
He's
that.
making shit up. But anyway, did you enjoy Two-Face? Are you reading Two-Face? And do you want more Two-Face?
Yeah.
Let us know down
What other villain
below.
books should we start reviewing on the pod?
There you go. Or should DC start producing?
Yeah. But we've got a opposite of a villain book. We have
We sure do.
a Spider-Man book to go talk about.
Amazing Spider-Man number 3 is coming to us from writer Joe Kelly of Deadpool, JLA, and X-Men, and artist Pepe Larraz of Avengers, Star Wars, and X-Men. The colorist is Marty Garcia, and the letter is Joe Caramanga. Jay, we're reading Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We're not totally sold on Spider-Man.
There's another Deadpool adjacent character that I didn't know,
Yeah, that's
was a
apparently
thing,
spliced from his and Spider-Man's DNA.
called Itsy Bitsy.
My man is emoting. My man is emoting over here.
I don't know what to say. I didn't know there was another one. This and we'll talk about another character that's in this mold later in the episode that
Yeah.
has
We'll be talking
but
about
like I
Jumpscare
feel like
later.
these characters are so easy to do poorly, and
Yeah.
this kind of felt like that to me. Like I didn't like anything with Itsy Bitsy in this issue.
Agreed.
I I don't really know what her deal is, other than she seems to be into Spider-Man and like in a way that's way weirder and less interesting than Black Cat.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we also get a lot of the like young Peter stuff here. That's just like I am not enough of a Spider-Man reader to know if this is like established young Peter vibes, and I'm even somebody who likes Peter, who's kind of a little bit of a dick more than most people. But I'm just not really vibing with the young Peter that we're getting in this book. So that makes for an issue because it's basically cutting between itty bitty stuff and young Peter for the most part that I'm not super intrigued with. I like the issue ender a whole ton. There's a phenomenal splash page there.
Yeah, yeah.
Really, really great. But this was far and away my least favorite of the first 3 issues, and I thought this was a very weak issue in general.
Yeah, I fully agree. You like an edgy Peter, I like a quippy Peter, and a quippy Peter doesn't work in this situation. Like, and again, the edgy Peter didn't work very well in his flashbacks, but I'm talking in his scenes with Itsy Bitsy. Like,
Yeah.
we've talked about how to strike that balance with a Peter who's making jokes and quipping and a Peter who's, very serious. And this did not feel like a lighthearted fight. Like, Peter is in very real and present danger.
Yeah.
He's currently poisoned and hallucinating. His girlfriend is in danger, and Rhino is in danger. It didn't feel like the type of fight where I wanted Peter to be, like, making little jokes. And it was made infinitely, I was about to say it was made infinitely worse by the fact that Itsy Bitsy was quipping. And not my favorite written quips either. I don't know her character really, so maybe it's like incredibly in character for her, and maybe I just don't like Itsy Bitsy, which seems likely.
There were some weird lines in there.
Yeah. It was also not my favorite book of Amazing Spider-Man so far. I do still really like the art. I know that I'm a bigger fan of it than you are. I'm
learning that I think with some of these, there's a few styles recently I think that we read that have this kind of like face style. I'm learning I like it a lot less on male faces. Like I think they do female faces fine, but I think the male faces just look a little weird to me, especially like a clean shaven normal like specifically Peter's face. I think does not ever really look good to me in this book. Which
I like
is,
but that's very much a different strokes type of situation. So I enjoyed the art.
I really do like the Spider-Man art though. When he is Spider-Man, I think it looks quite good.
Yeah, I wasn't sold on the rest of it, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. Why don't you guys let us know what you're thinking, how you feel about the book so far if you're reading ASM. I know the run before this was not very well liked. So if you read the run before this, is this a step up? Is this feeling better so far?
Is it at least going in the right direction?
Or so far Paul hasn't been in this book, and I know people hate Paul. I've never read anything with Paul in it, but I know people hate Paul. I think he's in the Venom book now because Venom's Mary Jane for some reason. But so at least that's a thing. But yeah,
and hey, if you are reading this one and also reading Ultimate Spider-Man, drop your thoughts down below.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard not to compare. But we have another Marvel book. We have Laura Kinney Wolverine.
Laura Kinney Wolverine issue 6. This is coming at us from writer Erica Schultz, who's worked on Daredevil, Rat City, and Xena Warrior Princess. The artist is Giada Belvizzo of Jackpot and Black Cat, Miss Marvel, and Blood Hunters. The colorist is Rochelle Rosenberg, and the letter is Coy Petit. So Eric Schultz finally has an ongoing. We've talked about that a decent amount, but this would be, I think, the longest the mini would ever go. So we've really gotten into ongoing territory here. Talk to me about Laura Kinney Wolverine, Katie.
She got an ongoing and said, I'm gonna take the biggest swing.
Yeah.
So the crux of this issue is that clearly somebody exterior is brainwashing either Laura or Laura and the rest of the Wolverine family.
Yeah, because didn't the last issue end with them like coming out and grabbing her?
Yeah, but like I
They,
until we have context for what that was,
that's fair. Then
yeah,
it could be. Yeah,
because
that's
it
fair.
could be the start of her hallucinations.
Literally the cover, by the way, the grabbing her.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And that they have brainwashed them to believe that mutants don't exist, and that Laura just like through a creative writing exercise after crashing a car that killed her mother, used that to cope. So it's a really interesting issue to read as someone who doesn't know anything about her little sister. I feel like it was very well written. Honestly,
Yes.
I really liked the relationship between the three Wolverines. I assume that the youngest one calls herself Wolverine as well.
I would hope not.
I feel like at this point they just don't call themselves Wolverines, and I support that for them.
I would hope the sister has another name so that we, at least there's some differentiation there.
Nah, not allowed. But they all interact in a really wonderful way, and it's very funny to see Logan in like this kind of family man, like widowed father of two, like being a girl dad. I really enjoyed the way that all of them were written together, and I really liked the art as well. I'm not 100% sold on the plot line yet. Mostly because we don't really get anything of the plot line in this. Like we get some. I don't know if Emma Frost is there as an actual villain or as part of the hallucination.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if that's like just another character that we like kind of know that's going to be switched around. Like,
but like Charles Xavier
is that
there.
X-Man? Is that guy's code name? I can't.
I don't know.
I know there is an X-Man, and he looks like he would be a generic X-Man who's named X-Man.
I don't think so, because I think that X-Man. Oh, geez, I'm like trying to picture all the shitty covers.
Who is generic? I'm gonna hold up the cover for the next book. Who is generic guy who's apparently Lord Kinney's love interest?
I do not know. I fear that we, perhaps don't know enough about our extended Young X-Men lore.
Well, in any case,
it's a big swing.
I'm gonna lightly disagree with that. This is like a very generic plot line that is done a ton.
I think the big swing of it for me is the commitment to the entire issue. Like, there's no.
That's fair. I mean, I think that's part of the ongoing of it all. Where like, you can just kind of spend an issue in this and then reveal what's going on. Again, I agree. I thought it was very well written. I really like the dynamic. There is like that. It's playing in that good space where it's like they know that you know something's wrong, so like it's slightly disorienting and concerning as Laura like slips a little bit more and more into believing the false life. So I think execution in this issue was very good, and it was very good to read. But like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this started with that whole like Batman as a mental patient thing, and like I think then they end up doing that in an alternate universe or something. And I think like now this is done every now and then in superhero books and stuff where it's like, we're gonna have them in either a simulation or in something that's their normal life or good life, and they're gonna think that everything, that they're misremembering it, or that it's delusions or something, that this false life. So I think we've gotten to the point where this like at one point kind of interesting idea has become very generic. But the execution's good, so it's hard to complain about a generic plot line in that sense. I think a lot's going to depend on how it plays out and what is actually going on, what's causing it, and kind of how that all plays out. But yeah, in terms of an introduction to the sister too, it's an interesting thing because obviously this isn't the real version of the sister, but it was a cool way, I think, to get their dynamic out there. So
I agree. So I eagerly await to see where we're going with this, Eric Schultz. I believe in you, though. Are you reading Wolverine, Laura Kinney style? How do you feel about the I don't think it's a stretch to call it sort of an amnesia plot, like the kind of mind control, you're not in your proper life type of thing. I do you feel like it's something that has a kind of foregone conclusion? Like there's no question of whether or not she would go back to being Wolverine.
Yeah, she's not gonna just live in whatever this
Yeah.
fake world is forever. That would make not a great Wolverine book.
No. But do you think Logan and Gabby are in on it? Are they being manipulated
Wow,
as
Kate just
well,
thrown out
or
some-
are they like hallucinations and stuff? Lots of
Uh,
fun questions that hopefully will be
yeah.
answered in the upcoming issues.
But that's gonna take us to the end of our Marvel section
That's
of
right.
the video. So we're gonna be jumping over to, I believe, Dark Horse.
I believe so.
Jumpscare.
Jumpscare, issue 3. The writer here is Cullen Bunn of Magneto, The Sixth Gun, and Harrow County, rather. The art, very spooky, Jay. The artist is Danny Luckert of Regression, The Red Mother, and The Space Between, and the letterer is Jim Campbell. Jay.
Yep.
We've been very on board with Jumpscare thus far.
We have.
This is we talked a little bit about Amazing Spider-Man #3 a couple segments ago, and how there's a kind of Deadpool adjacent character in that issue who we feel perhaps wasn't executed very well. But that's one of the big praises we've been giving Jumpscares, that she's got this kind of meta vibe, this kind of like poke fun at her, being a character vibe, and it's being done really, really well. How did you feel about issue 3?
Yeah, this is certainly a much better version of the like meta humor, somewhat fourth wall breaking character. It has me like slightly enticed to try to go back and read some of Cullen Bunn's Deadpool stuff. It's like, can he actually make me like the character? But in any case, this is I think exactly the kind of issue we needed after the last issue. Issue about very well made, very good, but it was a bit of a pause from like a plot progression and it does come back around and give you like that push to go forward, but it's a little bit of a stationary character driven issue compared to, a more action packed issue. We get a full action packed issue here, balls to the wall, slicing, Eltridge, monstrous type creatures.
As Jumpscare says herself, a whole lot of hacking and slashing.
Yeah, which I believe is a little, a little hack slash, I don't even know what we should call it. Yeah, call it whatever. Anyway,
Easter egg. Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. In any case, I think this is a very good issue. Jumpscare is just works so much better because within the quipping and stuff, we see like a lot more actual character and a lot more, of the kind of difficult relationship with her sister, which I think is really well executed in this issue, even when Jumpscare doesn't have like a ton of time to specifically spend with her sister. And I think a lot of it is just good action with some decent character work in there, leading us up to what I think is I don't know why I'm flipping to it because I can't show it, is a really good issue ender to kind of give us this sense of a little bit of dread for what might happen to the character moving forward. We also get more on the organization that's name I don't remember. Which I feel bad about.
Desperate 5 or something. It's not that, obviously.
Yeah. So that was cool. I like world building. So that was nice. Well done, world building.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you really hit the nail on the head with this being exactly what we needed at this point in the story. Like so much of the first issue.
I don't know how many issues this is going either.
I don't know either. But so much of this book feels like it really relies on that like fun action because of the way that Jumpscare's powers work, like being able to get all of these like cool horror weapons. So a lot of it is that hacking and slashing, because that's what the character is. And I feel like they did such a good job with this one. I feel like we talked about this with another Cullen Bunn book, which was Monsters Are My Business. My Business is Bloody. That was Cullen Bunn, right?
Yes, you are correct. You can't see the similarity.
That's me about to draw a comparison. I feel like he does such a good job of finding artists who understand how to make things look fun. Like, he knows what he wants the tone of his book to be, and the people that he works with are so adept at finding that.
Yes.
so huge ups to Danny Luckert for the way that all of these like Leviathan touched
Danny Luckett does such a good
people
job.
look. They look so good. The way that what's his name, Grindhouse, the way that he looks so amazing with all of the faces and stuff, horrifying. The way that he does the
I really
action
like
of their
Grindhouse.
combat. There's this amazing bit where he like grabs her by the ankle and like slams her, and it's done so well. All of it feels so, you know, like bone crunchy. In a just really wonderful way that I think makes the action in this book feel really unique. Like it feels really violent in a very appealing way, which is great.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I just wanted to touch on is the sister relationship. You touched on there. I feel like it's going to be so important, especially with that little bit we got at the end. I love the jump scare. The way that she talks about her character in dialogue, I feel like did so much work in this issue for building their
This is just all throughout
relationship.
the fight. Like it's
Exactly.
built in that dialogue throughout the fight, which is just such a good way to use it. Funny enough, coming after the Erica Schultz books, I feel like there's a lot of things in the action in this book that we usually compliment Erica Schultz in. There's no action in her book to compliment it on, so it's gonna come.
Right.
It's gonna
Cullen
come
Bunn got all the juice this week.
Which also, interestingly, I think he did something that we typically talk about with Schultz doing, which is like having actual like goals throughout the fight and stuff. And it actually ties back to how much you loved the power from the first issue of like only being able to teleport when nobody's looking.
Yeah,
I thought that was so well executed in this issue for that to like really matter, and like it technically actually came in. Like it was just very well thought out and used. And I love it when action sequences have that actual progression. It has actual goals and like they like just so well executed in this issue, and it really made that power feel like a cool but not overpowered. Like it's a very intriguing power that I really
absolutely enjoy. Like they did a good job of balancing the fact that it can be used for just like fun character violence, and it can be used as like I don't know, very tense power. So it's good for bits and it's good for serious moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. But if you've been reading Jumpscare, would you watch any of the movies that Jumpscare's weapons are pulled from? And how
she actually mentioned some real ones in this book.
She did. I feel like in dialogue she says real ones pretty often.
Yeah, the weapons she pulls
the weapons
from.
are.
Yeah. It's probably more easy to get in trouble for like pulling, you know, and having her actually use a real thing. But yeah,
exactly. But how do you feel about sibling relationships in general in comics? We've talked about them a lot on the podcast, especially with our love of Noctera. They can be done well, they can be done poorly. How do you feel that Cullen Bunn is handling the relationship between Jumpscare and her sister? Let us know down below, or any other thoughts you have on Jumpscare. But for now,
absolutely,
it's time.
The penultimate issue.
The penultimate issue of The Moon is Following Us.
The Moon is Following Us, issue 9. The writer of this series and sometimes artist is Daniel Warren Johnson of Transformers, Zero Powerbomb, and Wonder Woman Dead Earth. The main artist on this book is Riley Rossmo of Harley Quinn, Detective Comics, and Bedlam. The colorist is Mike Spicer, and the letter is Sean Lee. We have, I think it is fair to say, utterly loved this series.
Yes.
And we are drawing to a close here with only one more issue to go here. So, Katie, talk to me. The Moon is Following Us.
This book is so fucking good. Like, it is so emotional. And the way that these characters have moved through the book is, like, if you look at Sam and Duncan in this issue, it's a little hard to look at Duncan, but if you look at Sam and Duncan where they are now, compared to where they started, it's so amazing to see how their relationship has not changed, because like we said at the very start, one of the great things about their relationship is that even though they're going through this hard thing and clashing a lot of the times, it never feels like they like don't love each other or anything. And that has been such an amazing through line to get to where we are now. Like it's so well done. It makes everything, just the emotions, go up to 11. Because I feel like there's a really easy kind of shortcut in a narrative like this where you can be like, oh yeah, they don't love each other anymore. But then in a big moment, it's like revealed that they do, and you get that emotional payout. It's like, oh, they actually do. But no, you feel it the entire way through with this book.
Yeah.
And that is so amazing, and such a strength of it. We also get just even more bananas Riley Rossmo art. here in the
Riley
dream
Rossmo,
world.
this is the first thing I've ever read of Riley Rossmo's art, but Riley Rossmo's
Other
quickly
than
like,
that, the Etrigan and Green
oh,
Lantern
you're right.
one shot. Yeah,
Forgot about that.
yeah.
Forgot about that. That was also very, very good. But yeah,
Yes.
Riley Rossmo's quickly becoming an artist that I greatly enjoy.
Oh yeah. And this book is so suited to their style. It's amazing. Um, it's so colorful, it's so thrilling, and a lot of that also goes to the rest of the creative team. Like the exciting sound effects, the incredible colors. They're so poppy, they're so bright.
Yeah, we've talked about Mike Spicer a lot on this podcast.
Yeah.
One of the truly great colorists of this era.
Absolutely.
Like there's very little to say. I think I held up the page before, but I'll hold it up again. And like, yeah, I think that's enough said.
It's just beautiful.
Oh.
Like it's an amazing book to read from every single like part of the craft, right? Like there's not a squeaky wheel on this book. It has just every single issue has been full force, everybody working at their best, and that
it's
is
a pedal
such
metal
a treat.
Book, for sure. Which I think is one of the things that Daniel Warren Johnson is kind of, known for. Like he's a guy who kind of goes hard constantly in his books, which I appreciate. But I feel like it also leads to we talked about this, I think, at some point in the review. It was more of a guess at that point, but I feel like it's safe to say, having read issue 9 now, that it certainly feels like the case here was that this was truly them picking an issue count that was exactly the amount that they felt they needed to tell the story. No editorial, no worries about any of that, which is like, 10 issue is a little bit weird. I don't know that there's many 10 issue series out there that were always intended to be, like, that weren't ongoings that just happen to end at 10, that were always intended to be 10 issue series. But reading this issue feels like, yes, they really planned it, plot, and got to the point where that's what they needed to end it, which is just such a nice, like, true creative thing where it's like there's no external force forcing them to bend, what's going to be the best reading experience for something else. It's like, no, this is what it is, and that's so great. This issue actually, like, as phenomenal as it is, and it is all the way through. It's beautiful to look at everything. It was an issue that concerned me a little bit at the beginning. Like, I started reading this issue and I was like, no, they're going to kind of make this an easy out, aren't they? Like, this is going to feel like an unearned ending. This is not really going to be what I want out of this book. And then maybe in the last issue we'll have like an outside world thing that'll kind of be our thing there. I was like, I don't like how easy this feels like it's about to be, And then this book knew how to just sideswipe you, and I'm like, oh no, shit, the rug was pulled out from under me, and then it is earned, and you get this big moment, and it really pulls you in. And that, I feel like that's such a credit to Daniel Warren Johnson's writing. We talked about how amazing Riley Rossmo was all the way through, but that's there even in the beginning. But Daniel Warren Johnson like takes you on that journey where it's like he actually makes you believe that, like, oh no, it is going to be easy for our characters here, and then he like can actually really sideswipe you and pull the rug out from under you. So I give him a ton of credit for that, because he really did have me a little bit fooled at the start of this issue before he just utterly dropped the floor out from underneath me. And so I love it even more for that. But it wasn't a thing where at the beginning I was a little concerned.
Hell yeah, I was not, but maybe I'm just built different.
You just said that.
Have you been reading The Moon Is Following Us? How do you feel about this penultimate issue? And my God, how are you going to deal with it when there's no more issues coming out? Because I think I'll cry every month. I think I'll just cry.
What John's going to do next is, I think.
Oh God,
good question.
Terrifying and exciting question. And will he do it with Riley Rossmo? Because I feel like this is such a dream team.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so too.
More sci-fi books from the two of them, please.
Yes. But speaking of more sci-fi books,
yes,
we're going to talk about Blood and Thunder.
Do it.
Blood and Thunder #1. This is coming to us from writer Benito Serrano of Invincible presents Adam Eve and Rexplode, and The Tick. The co-story was created by Robert Kirkman of Invincible, The Walking Dead, and Void Rival. The artist is E.J. Sue of Tech Jacket, Cloudfall, and Transformers. The colorist is Miss Sasek, and the letter is Russ Wooten. Jay, brand new #1. It's got Robert Kirkman fingerprints on it. You love Robert Kirkman.
Yes.
And you read Tech Jacket, right? Which is E.J.
Yes,
Sue?
I'm a big Tech Jacket guy. I love E.J. Sue. I think E.J. Sue is a phenomenal artist. But for a while he hasn't really been doing comics, and at least not comics full time. There's actually, I don't know if you read the letter in the back.
I did.
Yeah, right. I enjoy Skybound does good stuff like that. Like I love getting backstory on how books come about. It's very nice for me. So it's nice to see that EJ Su is trying to make a run at being full time in comics again. I like that very much. EJ Su,
and I like that Robert Kirkman was like, absolutely, I got you.
It feels like he is that. Like I feel like so many things are, and be like, this artist wants to work together. I want to work with this artist. What can I do to justify working with this artist? It's interesting though, and I think the fact that the other thing in that letter is that he like called up Benito Cereno after like years. I don't think Benito Cereno has done a comic book in like 10+ years. You know, like EJ2 was at least like doing covers before coming back. Whereas like I don't think Benito has done anything in a long time. So that's very funny to me. They just like called him up and he was like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, I'll write a comic book." I love that. I think that's awesome. I think that's great.
Agreed.
This is so cool. This is so up my alley. I love a good sci-fi book. This is a cool concept. It feels honestly like some of this was maybe borrowed from, like, it feels like there's some shared DNA with the Void Rivals Handroid in this book.
A little bit, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
With the gun
so
that
getting
talks.
a book that's much more focused on that when that's something that we love in Void Rivals, awesome. Utterly love that. Thunder is very fun. I like having the gun that talks. In
I
a
like
way
having
that
the gun
like,
with morals.
yeah, like it's in a way that like comes across funny, but it's not like the gun quipping. You know, like I like that a lot. I'm a big fan of that. But yeah, overall, I think this is a very good first issue. It's a very world buildy first issue, I'd say, versus like us getting a ton of plot. But I think it works really well. You know, like it is introducing you to a whole, you know, sci-fi world that you have to very much buy into.
Yeah.
And I think it does a very good job of that. It's selling you on the concept, it's selling you on the world, it's selling you on Blood and Thunder as, I'll say characters. The gun's a character. It
absolutely.
As well as the police chief guy, I think. Hold on him too. I like him.
Pseudo dad.
He looks like Stanley from The Office, and I think he definitely did some photo reference on that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thought it was a very good first issue. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Totally agree. I loved the opening motif to introduce you to the world of the like radio broadcast.
Yeah.
Like tuning into a radio station with the weather where they go through the different levels of this asteroid world and like give you a really quick lowdown. Like you move through the world in a way that very naturally and very quickly gives you a lot of information and gives a lot of room for Sue to give a lot of visual information as well. I think that Blood's introduction was so fun. Like the whole thing with Herp the Perp, this alien who she's chasing, she's a bounty hunter, is really, really great. And then I really liked when she got back to the precinct and started interacting with the chief. I think that there was a lot of good character work there. Yeah. The one thing that I wasn't totally sold on, that I only learned about in the letter, is I did not realize that her hair was supposed to be special in some way.
Yeah, me neither, honestly.
I went back
but I was just
and I was
looking back right now. I was noticing that there are like
there are little like globs that come off. But on the page that didn't really sell to me, and I feel like if they had her use it in some way, or you know, had someone point it out or something, because I think that part of the important part of her character is that she can pass as human. Like she's an alien who can, you know, who looks more or less human. But I feel like I could have used a little more of hey, this is part of her character.
I think when you said we both learned that through the letter, that's a very fair critique. But yeah, I thought
otherwise phenomenal really first issue.
Yeah, it's a great first issue by End of the World, and I think it's an ongoing. So you know, like
I believe so. They said that it's going to be going for a long time.
Yeah, so that's
super exciting.
Other thing, I love that Skybound does that with creator-owned series. Like they don't all end up going all that long, but I like that they almost all start with the intent to be on aliens. I think that's very nice.
I agree, especially because you don't see like anyone else doing that.
Yeah, especially in the creator-owned space
Image,
with like non-big
kind of,
creators.
But you know.
Yeah, but and how often?
Image.
You know, like
exactly.
some big creators do it. You know, like I don't know. It's
Yeah,
nice.
unlike this, which is little indie boy Robert Kirkman.
No. I meant Skybound does this in general. They have another one coming
Yes,
up
yeah.
soon, and but I'd argue the Benito Cereno is not a big name creator.
That's fair. That's very fair. I
EJ
was just poking fun
Sue,
at you.
arguably, he's done a lot of cover work for big, things. But I think he's borderline. I'll say he's big to me. I'll read EJ Sue stuff. I love EJ Sue. I'm sorry,
But
EJ
you
Sue. I
at
do not
home,
mean that as an indictment on you at all. You're talented enough to be a huge name creator.
listeners at home, how do you feel about the independent ongoing? Is it something that you
I
find
thought you were about to say, how do you
you're
feel about EJ Sue's stature in Is he a big name? Let us know.
horrifying? Do you feel like it requires a lot more buy-in for a creator owned as opposed to with an established character like a Batman ongoing? Or is it something that you're really excited about and you're willing to give it more grace because it's something you haven't seen before? I know that I certainly fall into the latter category.
Yeah.
I love a creator owned.
Me
We
too.
love original ideas here.
Yeah.
But how did you feel about Blood and Thunder #1? Let us know down below. And we
We
are
got
going to
one
go
more.
talk about our last book of the day, which
Blood?
is Snow Monkey
Snow
number
Monkey.
1.
I was still on Blood. Snow Monkey, not Blood Monkey. That'd be weird.
Anyway, Snow Monkey number 1.
Snow Monkey issue 1. The writer is Jason Sean Alexander of Empty Zone, Spawn, and Batman the Brave and the Bold. The artist is Hubert Michael of Vampirella, The Owl, and The Antagonists. The colorist is Chuck Michael Obach, and the letter is Saida Temfront. Katie, we read a little bit of this in the Red 5 preview Free Comic Book Day issue this past week. We really were enticed by that little slice. Now we have a full issue. How's that enticement sizzled?
I mean, the good news is we loved the Free Comic Book Day preview so much, and that was the first half of this issue. So it was already a great half comic book of content. And I actually really I really liked where the back half of it went. I really liked the lore that develops around the
flashbacks, Katie. Flashbacks.
Jay loves a flashback. The man was eating good this week,
especially ancient culture-based stuff. Flashbacks, love that. Good.
So great. Yeah, I love the lore that's developed around it. I feel like it gives a really good extra layer to this. Like in the preview and the first half of the book, I was under the impression of like, okay, she's wearing the helmet because like it's cool or whatever. And like I don't know, helpful in combat to wear a helmet. I didn't realize that it was gonna be like that there was something important with it. That it was like a lore thing. And I really like the vibes that it's putting out. I really like the mechanic of it. Even though we haven't gotten to see it really in action yet.
Yeah.
So I think it was
love the chained old lady
as the free right.
Spoilers. Sorry.
I think it was a great Free Comic Book Day experience, and I think it was a really good follow up to that. Like they did a really good job with the rest of the issue as well.
Agreed.
How did you feel?
But yeah, like you touched on the like ancient lore behind the elements. I want to talk about the lore of just the world that they built here because there's good lore also. I utterly love the idea of this school run by like ninjas that her father, ninja students that her father like
ninja gangsters.
Runs. Yeah. Like they are where he pulls his students from to teach. Like it has such good, like Cobra Kai, Karate Kid, like type, three ninjas from like a lot of stuff, that I've always really enjoyed. I love a good like, school aged martial arts, like world. I think like it's one of those things where like utterly wild the idea that all these kids can just like solve their problems by fighting each other with martial arts. But I love it. It's like my favorite weird thing that has somehow turned into like an established trope, despite it just being a wild thing to be an established trope. I love it, but I especially love the fact that, like, her father's behind that, and so like when she's doing things, the kids realize and they're like wary of her.
Yeah,
I think it's a really, really cool dynamic. I love everything that they're setting up, both with the ancient history behind the helmet and with her father and the school. I think on all sides, this is such a cool book that I am so utterly excited to read more of.
It's incredibly J-coded.
It is. It's very much made for me.
Like it already was, and then there were the flashbacks, and then it's just like it's made for him. That's so nice. That somebody wrote a book just for you.
It's a very nice thing. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We have really, really, really great things going on here. I also really like, we talked about it a little bit in the Free Comic Book Day episode during the combats. Every so often when she does a particular move, they'll have like the little text box that's like, here's the move that she's doing. And I think that's really fun. I think it adds a level of like impressed expertise where it's like, oh, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, and they were good looking like they were specifically those captions I really liked. They I can't show it off, so I won't. But I really liked the way they did those captions.
Really gorgeous.
Yeah.
But did you read Snow Monkey in the Free Comic Book Day Red 5 book? And did it compel you to pick it up? Because it feels like to me it was a good decision. Were there any other Free Comic Book Day previews that you picked up that inspired you to get the full book, or that you're planning on?
And is it something that we should pick up, or is there something in the future based on Free Comic Book Day that you think we should pick up and review?
Absolutely, let us know down below. But it is time.
You're not going to forget this week?
For the pull. Shut your whore.
This woman just called me a whore.
It was called for. No, I'm not going to forget this week, Jay. Time for the pull list rec. Do you have a choice?
No, this is one of the hardest ones I've had to do in a while.
It's a tough week.
I want you to go first because you always make me go first. And this is one where I might benefit from if I'm gonna just like do something that you don't.
I don't think you are.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think sleeper hit for me. One that I didn't initially think I was gonna pull for the pull list rec, but as we talked about it, I got more and more excited about it, and I liked it more and more. I'm gonna give it to Laura Kinney number 6.
That's fair. That's fair. It was a good
really liked the writing of Logan and Laura and Gabby. I think that the relationships established here are going to be something that echoes out throughout the rest of the Marvel lore. Also, get fucked. I didn't pick something else because I thought it might make your job easier. I was torn between the two, and
why do you have to be so mean? I'm gonna give it. I think I have to give it to Snow Monkey number 1. It's such a good first issue. Blood and Thunder I also was heavily considered, which is a great first issue. But this one actually,
my tied one.
I feel like that though. I feel like this gave us more of where the book is going, and I'm gonna give it points for that. Like I know that I'm here for where I think Snow Monkey's going.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also Snow Monkey art similarly fantastic. I didn't really talk about that in that. Really like Snow Monkey art. But yeah, in any case, pick up Snow Monkey issue 1 and Laura Kinney Wolverine issue 6, and pick up anything else that sounded interesting on today's episode. But speaking of pulling books, Katie, do you want to tell the people what we have pulled for next week's episode?
I would love nothing more.
Podcast.
We've got, I guess, less of a big week. We've got some big weeks coming up because of all the good stuff that came out of Free Comic Book Day. Next week, we've got Batman and Robin, number 21. We've got Batman Dark Patterns, number 6. We have... Jay, help me out with my abbreviation.
You did it! I don't know what it is!
That just says Bat-Bee, number 1.
Battle Beast. Invisible Universe Battle Beast issue. You did it! You wrote down these! Invincible Universe Battle Beast, number 1. Katie's never read Invincible. Shockingly.
Yeah.
I have. I read the whole series. Utterly love it.
Flex.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's read the whole series. I don't think that's really a flex. I think that's like a lot of people, especially since the show's popularity. But anyway,
I'll come in fresh. I'll give a
Katie's gonna give a fresh perspective, and then maybe I'll talk her into reading Invincible at some point.
There we go. It won't be hard. We're also going to be reading Supergirl number 1, Mutant Nation number 6, and the much anticipated Exquisite Corpses number 1.
That's right.
Chonky book that is. But Jay, if our dear listeners can't wait until next Wednesday, what's currently playing on the Script Heroes channel?
Yeah, so you can go back to our Free Comic Book Day episode that came out recently if you want to see other things like that Snow Monkey preview and other things in the Red 5 book. In addition to that, we just did our Absolute Universe bonus episode talking about all of the month 7 books.
Yes.
That's going to be issue 7 of the longer running series and issue 2 of the newer series. So we get you all recapped on everything you need to know about those books. But yeah, that's what you can find already on the channel. And if in case you want more coming up, but you can't wait until Wednesday, this Saturday, it was once again time for the Strange Saturday Super Show. And it's my turn to pick. And I have felt a calling with Battle Beast coming out this week, Blood and Thunder here. I felt a calling to do a Robert Kirkman book on for the Strange Saturday Super Show. So we are going to be talking
Battle Pope Volume 2.
No, that would have been great. We're going to be talking about Tales of the Realm. So Tales of the Realm, I think, is an old Kirkman book that's really slipped through the cracks.
Okay.
But this book is essentially, it takes place in a D&D-esque fantasy, world, but one that has progressed to like modern technology and stuff. And so we follow TV show stars who play, like questing adventurers as they go on a real quest to save a movie producer who they are hoping will bring them out of TV stardom and into movie stardom.
I already adore this. I am so excited.
It was a super Katie coded book.
It really is, and I am so excited. Who's the artist on this book?
I believe it's Matt Tyree. Matt Tyree. I was
going to say Matt Kidd. I think that I know him more as a writer, but love that.
I don't know why. I guess I got the name.
Right, a lot of
I had the other name in my head.
No, super duper excited. But yeah, so tune in if you want to check out any of that content. Go to the backlog for all of our old stuff. And as always,
we'll see you next week. Comic Geeks.